Hey there, my fellow lunatics, and welcome to Dakon's Madhouse. Hey there, my fellow lunatics, and there has been a brand new bug fix patch and general quality of life update. This is the 1.1.0.2 patch, which is fixing a whole bunch of the various bugs from the new 1.1 patch. And some of them are great, some of them not so great. Let's start with the garden trowel. It was not providing golden crops before, and now if you place this down, now if we get some water on it, we'll just give these a second to grow, and I'm sure we will get some golden crops. And you can see that I've got some golden crops growing from my garden trowel now. So that bug has been fixed, and you can now get golden crops from your garden and octarine garden trowels. You used to be able to farm up your explosive skill by doing damage to radiation crystals. So if I take a hand mortar and I fire it at these radiation crystals, incidentally, I have a skill of 0 in explosives. I just keep shooting these radiation crystals. You used to get experience points for it. Now, you don't. You can no longer use radiation crystals to give you explosives experience. The same is true for the crystal snails. If I sit here shooting them, you can see 0 explosives, but no matter how much I do to them, I'm just going to keep on shooting this guy. 0 explosives. Neither one of these methods work anymore when it comes to raising your explosive skill. But there are 2 other methods for raising your explosive skill. One of those methods is a shroom and brute farm. Now, this one is all torn up because I've been doing some testing on it. But just to show you, if I fire at one of these shroom and brutes and they all have their shield on, they should only be taking 1 point of damage when I shoot them. But they don't. They're taking a couple hundred each. And if I shoot them enough times, I will kill them. So the shield that they have no longer protects the shroom and brutes from explosive damage, making them not remotely effective when it comes to training your explosive skill. I will mention you do gain experience points from shooting the shroom and brutes, but since they die so quickly, it's just not worth it because you can't replenish them. So where does that leave us? Well, with an explosive skill of 0, nothing in it, and I can still go over to the Hive Mother, shoot her guys, and gain some skill. So it's slow, it's not ideal, but the Hive Mother has regenerating enemies that will never stop. So even though that the devs have removed all the other methods of fast training the skill, the Hive Mother technique, tried and true, has worked for us since early access for every single skill, and it continues to work for us, even for the explosive skill. So if you want to quickly train your explosives, you're going to need to do it at the Hive Mother by just shooting the ads and gaining the skill that way while they slowly but steadily regenerate. All right, let's also take a look at lily pad armor, because lily pad shorts and lily pad tunics used to give you jungle emeralds when you scrapped them, but the devs have told me that that is a mistake and that that's not supposed to be happening. So let's see if they fixed it. They did. They fixed it. So now you only get scarlet bars, scrap, and fiber when you get rid of the lily pad gear. You're no longer getting jungle emeralds, so that has been patched out. I hope you got them while you could. Now let's dive into the rest of the patch notes and see what we've got. Alright, starting in the gameplay section, they have improved Nimruz's defensive against exploitative strategies. Curious what those exploitative strategies are, because I was unable to find any truly exploitative strategies. The boss was always a challenge for me no matter what. Well, I wouldn't say a challenge, but I always had to fight the boss legitimately. So if you know what those exploitative strategies were, please let me know in the comments, because I'm curious what I missed. I did try to exploit Nimruza a few times, but I was just never able to figure out how to do it. Throwing grenades into water may now drop fish. Hey, that's cool. I mean, everybody's been wanting explosive fishing ever since, you know, they showed us that animation of grenades in the water. So that's great. I like that that drops fish when you throw a grenade in there. Very cool. They added a setting to hide hotbar arrow buttons. This is cool. It didn't bother me any, but I have heard a lot of people on console, especially, complaining about that. So I hope that that helps for everybody who found the hotbar arrows annoying. They have slightly increased indirect lighting for the arcane symbiote. Well, I mean, it should have glowed a little, and it really doesn't, so that's nice. They delayed the spawn chest for Nimruza. That seems like a little thing, but honestly, it's actually pretty good because since Nimruza takes a minute to fall down and explode, usually what would end up happening is the chest would get damaged before you ever got a chance to even look at it. And that kind of defeats the purpose of seeing and opening your chest after a boss fight. They fixed some text and translation issues. I don't know what that means, but hopefully they fixed some of the important translation problems that they were having and made some of the language a little clearer. Hey, maybe that also means that they fixed some flavor text that was wrong. We can check on some of that. And let's look at the flavor text of the Hydra Tooth, and let's see here. It has the capacity to fix as well as healing the older. Nope. Looks like they didn't fix some of the flavor text because this still says that the Hydra Tooth heals people, and it doesn't. It hasn't since launch. That was something in pre-launch that it used to have a healing effect, and they got rid of it. But the flavor text still says it has the healing effect, so I guess it means that they just cleaned up important dialogue that actually matters for the game instead of flavory text instead. They've adjusted the speed and lifespan of the Core Commander's orb projectiles. Now, they didn't say whether they adjusted it up or down. I'd be curious to see which one it is. They've lowered the magical pet drop rate. That does make sense. You could get arcane symbiotes almost every other Floricata kill. And the minion detonator no longer drops in the Forgotten Ruins or in digging spots in Azios' wilderness. This is great because you should not have been getting a level 18 item before the Great Wall fell. That was definitely like, what is this doing here? The minion detonator is supposed to be fished up in desert water or drops off of Nimruza. That should be the only way you can get it. Minions no longer explode when a player teleports while having the Desert Guardian set equipped. Awesome! This will help a lot. Now, that doesn't mean that minions aren't going to do damage to things in your base anymore. It just means that when you're using a portal or a waypoint, they're not going to blow up your portal or your waypoint. That's nice, but you still need to be careful. Minions can still do damage if they explode to other general objects, so don't get cocky. We've already tested that garden trowels can now generate golden crops, which is great. Breaking oasis blocks should no longer create obsidian walls that persist until the world is rebooted. Also excellent. I've encountered that a couple of times. But I mean, logging out and logging back in isn't that a big deal, guys. Although I can see how dedicated worlds might suffer from this, because you can't just log out of a dedicated server and turn it off. Toggling the in-game UI no longer results in floating text from signs being invisible until the game is restarted. Interesting, I hadn't encountered that, but I don't use floating signs that often. So, good to know. It's nice to know that the floating text signs now have black outline again, making them easier to read. Here's the fix that we just demonstrated, where combat skill points no longer are applied to damage when dealt with explosives. Chance to gain extra items from the alchemist skill should now work correctly from the laboratory workbench. Great. I didn't know that they didn't work, but it's good that they do. I haven't been making my potions in bulk lately. Summoning items should now only trigger one summoning area to spawn an enemy. What does that mean? I'm not sure what that means. Summoning items should now only trigger one summoning area to spawn an enemy. If anyone knows exactly what that means, leave me a comment and let me know. Cicada burrows should now belong to the same faction as cicadas, thus no longer taking damage from creatures of the same faction. So hopefully that means that the cicadas aren't going to break their own burrows anymore. We should find out if that's true or not. Let's test. Alright, let's place down a hardened sap over these burrows and let's see what happens. Well, it only summoned one Floricata, so that's interesting. But they aren't destroying their burrows anymore. So that's worth noting. Let's spread these out a little bit and see if we can spawn more than one real quick. Okay, I've spread this out a little bit. Let's put this in the middle and let's see what we get. Still only get one, so they may have also fixed the fact that you can spawn multiple floricatas with a single hardened sap. I suppose we should probably test that a little bit more to be sure, but from this initial glancing, that's definitely what it appears to be. Fixed a bug that prevented the core commander from healing back to full health if the player died while in the second boss phase. I've actually noticed that a few times myself, so I'm kind of glad that that's the case now. Exiting the world while the core commander is doing a void area attack no longer results in the void attack with no safe areas when the world is reloaded. Also nice, I've experienced that one too myself, and it's really annoying when you can't fight the core commander at all and have to shoot him from a distance. The core commander should no longer trigger the void area attack after healing back to their first phase. I was unaware that, oh wait, yes, no, I know what that means. I actually encountered that one too, where you die, you come back, the core commander is now in phase 1 again, but he's still triggering his void attack when he shouldn't be. Yeah, I remember that. Glad to know that that's not happening anymore. Garden trowels are now upgradable more than once, and garden trowels are now resizable after being upgraded. That's really cool. I like hearing that. Chests will now drop their contained items when destroyed by boss attacks that typically destroy objects without dropping loot, such as Gorm's Charge. Now, I really hope that this applies to more than just chests, and it actually applies to other things like, for example, the Amber Larva, because there is always a chance that the scene for the Amber Larva and other important scenes like the Medium Maze will spawn in Gorm's path, and then Gorm runs over that path and destroys the Amber Larva or destroys your crystal gemstone or whatever. Now, the crystal gemstone being in a chest, that definitely fixes that problem, but what about the Amber Larva? I really hope that that is fixed too. Fighting multiple Hydra bosses in a single session no longer causes the second Hydra boss to display the name of the last defeated Hydra. Well, I never encountered this problem myself, but I have seen the screenshots in Discord quite a few times where people killed like Druidra, then they went to fight Krydra, and the boss spawned and had the name Druidra, although you still fought Krydra. So it was just a fun little glitch, although it is patched now. Text from other players' tombstones should no longer be illuminated. This will be helpful for all of you in multiplayer who have been wailing on your gravestone, or at least you thought it was your gravestone, only to find out that, nope, that's your ally's gravestone. Adjusted the button widths in the content menu to avoid text extending outside the buttons. I didn't experience that, but that's cool for any of you who noticed that. Gold ore in walls is no longer invisible during the Valentine's seasonal event. Pandorium crystals no longer appear in different colors on the map based on their size. That should be maybe good for some people, maybe frustrating for some people, depending on how you view your pixel art. Covered pit objects should no longer affect the functionality of planting with garden trowels. So if you ever noticed that you were trying to plant a seed with your garden trowel and it just wouldn't place, that was because you probably had a stalagmite or something else like that underneath the ground tile. It's no longer going to be a problem. Fan hair projectiles now correctly pierce enemies. This is great. I actually had stopped using the fan hair because I noticed it wasn't really piercing anymore, and I was like, oof, until they fix that. Quick stacking is no longer possible while playing instruments. Alright, well, I've never really noticed that, but I don't really play the instruments that much. So if you are one of the instrument players out there, let me know if this is something that matters to you and why. Minions should no longer display being affected by radiation from other players' minions in PvP. That makes sense. Minions are invulnerable, they don't take any kind of damage, so why should it matter if they're affected by radiation? Opening a cracked egg should no longer cause the pet to be instantly equipped. Huh. Well, I mean, I kind of liked that it instantly equipped my pet, because then I would just immediately be able to click on the stats and see what I got, but you know, some people might have found it annoying. Let me know how you feel about this change. Now for console users, we've got 2 specific fixes. They fixed the instrumental UI visuals not working correctly when playing higher octaves with the controller. Again, not an instrument person, but I hope that this helped those of you who are trying to play your instruments while on a console. And fixed quick stacking items not working. Oh my god, this one's good. Now, I've heard so many complaints from console users that quick stacking was not properly bound. So I am glad that this should be fixed for all of you guys. Let me know in the comments if it's not fixed. But first, check to make sure you're fully updated before you leave a comment saying it's not fixed. So I just want to make sure that we're both on the same page, because if it isn't fixed, let me know and I will tell the devs. But it's really good that they have it in here as fixed. Unfortunately, they still have not fixed this minor little bug where the waypoint is just about a pixel off. I mean, it's not a major bug, so I get why they haven't done it, but come on guys, this is annoying. Let's fix this. Also, the Hydra Tooth's flavor text still says that it has a heal over time on it, which it doesn't. So again, such a simple fix that I wish we could just get those things fixed. I get they're not important, they're really not that important. They're low priority. They don't actually affect the game in any way, but it just doesn't seem like it would take much to fix these. I have been thrilled that these updates have come out so quickly and that they are continuing to just pump out updates for us. Corekeeper has come so far even since the 1.0 launch, and it continues to just get better and better. So please leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about the latest update and what you liked, what you didn't like, and maybe what you'd like to see in any kind of future content and updates from Corekeeper. So until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, but above all, stay crazy, my friends.